this, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in. It is the last day of February. Holy smokes, time goes fast. It was a glorious weekend. The Tigers literally romped. I mean romped. They did to Wichita State what SMU did to them about a week and a half before. It was really fun at FedEx Forum yesterday. Ja wowed them all in Chicago. And today, it's D-Day for baseball. Get it done today. And they met for 6 hours yesterday. Get it done today, or there will be canceled regular season games for certain. I'm looking forward to talking with Tim Doolin about this very thing. That will be tomorrow. TJ Reeves will be our only guest today. He'll come at the bottom of this hour. So let's start with the Tigers from yesterday. You saw things like you can't believe, and how this team has suddenly and efficiently accepted what their roles should be. In fact, Penny talked about that in the pregame show yesterday, and I asked him who he thought was the one player, because they all think when they come in here that they're the man, they're the superstar, and he knows that. So who is the guy, J-Mo, I'll ask you this, who is the guy that has accepted the role he's got to play and sacrifice probably shots to do exactly what Penny wants him to do? Who's the guy that has embraced that team role that has been assigned to him?
I think Alex Lomax.
No.
Not the right answer.
Not Alex Lomax.
DeAndre Williams.
No, it is not DeAndre Williams.
Lester Quinones.
Yes, on your third try, that's the charm.
Takes three sometimes.
It is Lester Quinones, and I agree with that. Lester does not take the amount of shots I think that he would like to take or thought he was going to when he first arrived here 3 years ago. He, like yesterday, he took 8 shots. He made 4 of them. He was 3 of 4, so that's efficient. He was the guy that was absolutely shutting down Tyson Etienne most of the time. The best preseason conference player of the year, who ended up with 11 points. He got some of those late. He was 4 of 13 with both Quinones and Lomax wrapped around him. So that really is amazing. I said we've seen things we haven't seen in a long time. Do you know what Wichita State shot in the first half?
I do. I saw this 15%.
15%. 5 of 33, 2 of 13 from three-point range.
I've never seen that before.
And we saw a run. They didn't score for 9 minutes. 9 minutes. An 18-0 run, a 23-3 run that was very, very much like the 27-3 run SMU had on the Tigers at home. Those things have to happen at home. And poor Isaac Brown, the coach of Wichita State, he called 2 timeouts in that run. He did everything he could. Memphis was just too good. And it's been a bad matchup. Penny is now 6-1 against Wichita State because they don't have the team speed. They don't have an inside game. And now that you got Duran and Williams playing beautifully. And I don't know who pointed this out, but I think it's fair, and we'll ask Mike DeCourcy this tomorrow. I think it's a fair question to ask, which is, other than Holmgren and Timmy at Gonzaga, who's got a better down-low combination than Williams and Duran?
I can't think of one off the top of my head at all in terms of 2 names that pop and do a lot of contributing to their teams. You'd be hard-pressed to find 2 guys better than those 2, other than, like you said, Timmy and Holmgren.
That's it. That's the only two that I could really think of. Now, I'm not seeing everybody. And when we get to medals, we're going to talk about a great story that occurred over the weekend in college basketball, which shows you exactly how much parity there is. And as DeCourcy said a month ago, there is no great team. Every one of these teams has a flaw. It is going to make this NCAA tournament incredibly fun to watch. So I go to the Nets today, right? Just to sort of, I go to see what the American Athletic Conference tournament might look like, because it's basically next week, right?
The mid-majors start this week.
We got this week. You've got at Tampa late night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern time. That's Thursday night. And then you got Houston on Sunday, and then we all go to Fort Worth on Wednesday or Thursday. So
March is in the air.
March is here. Tomorrow, March has marched on. So Memphis' net today, thanks to the win, they were 46 yesterday, thanks to the win over Wichita State, which came in at 76, I believe, or maybe it was 78. I think it was 76 because they really fell. The Tiger net is now 42. Houston is the best in the conference. Houston's net is 3. Now, this is another question I have for DeCourcy. So the Tigers, 42. They are now 3-3 in quad one wins. They were 4-3 for a while there when Wichita State was under 75 net, because that's the drawing line on a road game. Okay, so now Memphis is 3-4 in quad two. That's the only one they're under 500. I think for sure USF's quad 3 or quad 4.
USF is 241.
Yeah, that'll be a quad 4.
Okay.
I'm almost certain. Maybe a quad 3, but I'm pretty sure it's a quad 4. The Tigers are 7-2 in quad 3. They're 4-0 in quad 4. So if they beat Houston, they'll be 4-3 in quad one wins to end the year, unless something crazy happened and Wichita State could get under 75. But now they've fallen to 84. SMU, by the way, behind Memphis at 47. How many quad one wins do you think Houston has to be 3 in the net? How many quad one wins have they got?
You would think more than they have losses.
You would think that, but they don't have one quad win. They're like 0-3 in quad ones.
0-3, yeah. Quad 2, though, 8-1. That's pretty good. But it's 0-3 quad 1. It's a heck of a point.
How in the world are they 3 in the net? I mean, I swear to you, I don't begrudge them that. I'm glad they're 3 in the net because it's going to help Memphis if they win. It'll probably, if Memphis beats USF and Houston, they got to be in the upper 30s. That's an at-large right there.
Certainly not a worse quad 1 record, but you have to go all the way down to 13. UCLA is 3-4 in quad 1 wins to find another team that has a losing record in quad 1.
I don't get that. I know they're 8-1, but they've lost to Memphis. They lost to SMU on the road, but they lost to Memphis at home. They lost to Alabama, right? That was on a neutral. Who's the other loss they have? There is one more loss. It's like to Oregon or who?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. That's it.
Wisconsin.
And you know they lost both Alabama and Wisconsin like by a point.
Right.
So their losses have been incredibly close. I think by 5 points total in the 4 losses they have. So that is very true. But they don't look at the score when you're putting up the net. Now, they did beat the heck out of SMU yesterday. Hey, it's really funny. You never know in college basketball, and so much of it is matchups, and that's why you can never say for certain what's going to happen in the NCAA tournament until you see the matchups. You got to look at the bracket, right? So Memphis kicked the you-know-what out of Wichita State twice.
That matchup, like you mentioned the matchup, that's an unbelievable matchup to beat that team that way. Because it's not like Wichita State is down there with USF in the league.
Well, here's the thing. That same Wichita State team that Memphis has bludgeoned twice, they beat the heck out of SMU by 15. By 15. I mean, how does that happen? Now, granted, they only played once, and they're not going to be a makeup game because the commissioner of the American doesn't have control of the American when it comes to basketball for whatever stupid reason. But they're not going to make that game up just like last year. So Wichita State and SMU are going to have one less game. So, Memphis may end up with as many wins as SMU, but they'll be a half a game worse because SMU didn't play a makeup game with Wichita State. Now, that just makes no sense to me. That should have been a priority that the commissioner would have made sure that every team played 18 conference games. Okay, you miss a non-conference game, like Memphis has missed 2 non-conference games, couldn't make that up, but you got to make up your conference games to have it equitable. Not going to happen.
Especially the last 2 weeks where they've all played Thursday, Sunday. There's plenty of time in there to
could have
play
played
one
a Monday
game.
Or Tuesday game for
Tuesday
sure.
game, yeah. That's
Houston,
tough 3 games, but
Houston
still.
is playing at Cincinnati, or Houston is playing Cincinnati. I don't know if it's at home or not. They're playing tomorrow. That's the one American Athletic Conference game tomorrow.
Yeah, they play Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday this week. So to that point, they play 3 this week.
They're making it up, but Wichita State and SMU are not. It was up to the schools, according to the commissioner. Another move I don't quite understand. I mean, the commissioner's done a lot of good things. I like the guy personally, but I don't like the way he's handled basketball now 2 years in a row. And if the tournament were to start, and probably SMU deserves to be the 2 seed over Memphis because they've beaten them twice, right? They're the only team that has swept Memphis. Memphis will have beaten, if they beat USF, they'll have beaten everybody at least one time. And they'll have swept Wichita State. They will hopefully sweep Houston. And if they do that, I think they're in the 30s. And maybe they got to win one game at the tournament and they're in. The thing that worries you is would that committee go, wait, SMU beat them. If they lose to SMU 3 times, I don't know.
Especially when it's a head-to-head literally between those 2 schools getting in, period.
Right. Just depends on what happens because Memphis' net with a win over Houston could get into the 30s. And if SMU, they're playing at home twice against not very good teams, if I recall.
Cincinnati at home and Tulane at home.
Well, Tulane has been a surprise team, but when they lost to Temple the other day, that sort of told me exactly where they are. And Cincinnati is just reeling. Cincinnati lost at home to South Florida this past week.
They've dropped 5 of 6, Cincinnati has.
Yeah. Somehow Wes Miller has sort of lost that team, I think. Davenport and DeJulius, their 2 best players. In that game against Cincy, they scored, against USF, I think they each scored 7 points. That's it. Something like that.
The final score of that game against USF was 56-54.
Yeah.
Not a high-scoring affair.
And a big guy from USF absolutely hooked a hope and a prayer up at the last second, and that won the game. That went off the backboard. That's how they won the game. So if the tournament, J-Mo, were to start tomorrow, so Temple or UCF play USF, so that would be 6, because the first 5 teams get byes. 6 versus 11. Cincy plays Tulsa, and the winner gets SMU. The winner of the USF Temple or UCF game gets Houston. East Carolina plays Wichita State, and Memphis gets the winner of that game, if I do this correctly. And then Tulane plays either Temple or UCF, depending on how that plays out, and that winner gets Houston. And so the semifinal should be Houston and I'll say Tulane.
Really? Tulane? I like watching Tulane. I think Tulane's a pretty good team.
I think Tulane's got 3 really good players. And he plays them minutes, and they play hard, and their role players are decent. They're I'm not saying they're a great team, but I'm going to say it'll be Tulane and Houston, Memphis, and SMU. If Memphis wins that game, they don't have to worry about going to Dayton. Because then they'll be in the mid to low 30s of the net if they win those 2 games.
And you know the old adage, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same year.
True. I hope that's right. 3rd time's the charm, like it was for you
exactly.
with Lester Quinones. I don't understand how Memphis has this poor matchup with SMU. I really don't. I understand why Wichita State has a hard time with the Tigers, but if you look at the way SMU plays and how small they are, and I know they're athletic inside, But if you look, Memphis should be able to win that game. They should be able to dominate inside, and they haven't been able to do that in the 2 games. That is for certain. All right, quick lock update. Bad week for me again, 1-2. I keep winning games and get beaten on the spread.
Yo, yeah. The Sixers in particular won by 10. I think you had them at 12.
I
it
did.
was right there.
Yeah. And my college game, same thing.
Oh, that's right. Same
it was
thing.
12 points, and Iowa won by 10.
Yeah.
Over a terrible Nebraska team.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. So I was 1-2. You were 1-1-1.
1-1-1. I got saved by the hook, but with the lack of a hook on the Appalachian State game there.
So overall now, did you put these numbers down? Yeah.
I did.
I'm 23-33-1. You're 29-27-1. So just very quickly, that's 6. I'm 6 games behind you.
That's right.
Man, you got to start stinking for me to catch you.
It's coming.
It may be too late.
No, it's coming.
It may be too late. All right, it is time, as we always do on Mondays. Before we talk with our friend TJ Reeves, we give out precious metals. My first precious metal is going to go to Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. Ja had 46 in the United Center. Ja said after the game, right before the third quarter, they played a video of MJ, of Michael Jordan, soaring through the United Center. He said to Rob Fisher, our buddy, that inspired me. And he ended up with 20 in the third quarter when the Grizzlies pulled away to a 17-point lead. And then I thought, Ja deserves another medal just for making fun of everybody who's making fun of him with the tequila. Who knows what he had in his drink in the post-game press conference, but he toasted everybody, said it was tequila, just to shove it back in their face. He had a 360-degree dunk that Steven Adams said, I'm bored with this stuff now. But I did get the assist. That's what Steven Adams said. I'm seriously. He's getting cheers in opponents' arenas because he's become that guy.
Very likable.
And the Grizzlies are now 42-20. They're only a game and a half again behind Golden State. Listen to this. They're 22-10 on the road. And do you know what Ja Morant said after his toast?
No.
He said, good teams win at home. Great teams win on the road.
That's right.
They actually are 20-10 at home and 22-10 on the road. That is impressive. And I love Kyle Anderson. He never gets his due. Who makes the big steal? From DeMar DeRozan, who, by the way, saw that 35 and 50% plus streak come to an end against the Grizzlies. And they had won 6 games in a row. They were in first place in the East, and Memphis hands them a loss at the United Center.
Grizzlies aren't going to lose 3 in a row. I was pretty confident of that going into that one.
My silver medal will go to a story, because I think it's a cool story. It's a historic story. It has never, ever happened before where the top 6 teams in the Associated Press poll all lost. Every top 6 team, Gonzaga lost, Purdue lost, Kentucky lost, Kansas lost. Every one of them that are in the top 6 all were upset. That never happens. You may see, because sometimes top 25 teams play each other, and so you're going to see 4 or 5 from the top 25 loss. Never have all the top 6 at the top lost in the same day, and they all did on Saturday, which is a heed of warning. USF's a terrible basketball team, but they just upset Cincinnati at Cincinnati. Memphis isn't good enough to overlook somebody. They admitted to themselves and the world afterwards, when they got run out at Moody Coliseum, that they were taking it for granted. They thought they were all together. They reverted back to some selfish ways. Better not do that in Tampa. Because ask those 6 teams at the top what can happen. And then my gold medal goes to Vasily Lomachenko and to the IOC. Vasily Lomachenko, if you don't know, is, by ESPN rankings, the number 8 pound-for-pound greatest boxer in the world. 8th in their rankings, pound for pound. He is a guy that has won 3 divisions, former 3-time divisional champion, 3 different weight classes, 2-time gold medalist at the Olympic Games. And he's 34. He's not retired yet, but he was in Greece, and he felt the calling because he's Ukrainian. And he couldn't get to the Ukraine by air because all of the European airspace now locked down to anything. And so he had to travel through Romania, goes to Romania, and drives all the way to Ukraine to join the forces. Amazing. And then this morning, the IOC has come forth, and they have called for Russia to be excluded from any sports. So if this had occurred before the Olympics, which is why it didn't, the Russian Olympic team, they weren't even, or club is whatever they were called, they're already not allowed because they're such cheaters. They would not have been allowed to participate at all in the Olympic Games. And Putin waited till afterwards to do all of this for this very reason. So now they're excluded from the call is for all countries to exclude them from participating in any international competition. And I hope all the countries take note. And I think they will. So to Vasily Lomachenko and to the IOC, I give you my gold medal.
Wow, that's a heck of a story. My bronze goes to the Wise Power 400, which was the NASCAR event this weekend. I'm trying to get into a little bit of stock car racing a little bit more.
Sure.
I like the Formula One, but stock car I'm a little bit new to. Kyle Lawson did a lot of trading paint. He traded paint with his teammate Chase Elliott, which they didn't realize that they were the guys next to each other, so they traded some paint, but they go in, and Kyle Lawson wins the Wise Power 400.
How do you not know that guy next to you is your teammate?
I know. I thought it was very strange. I didn't realize it was him, but they're trading paint. There was a big wreck in that fight.
Got to wonder about that.
I'm telling you.
Not good teammates.
Not
right
at all.
there. Yeah.
My silver medal goes to Spencer Dinwiddie. We'll remember, was just traded to the Mavericks in the Kristaps Porzingis trade. He had 24 points off the bench last night, which 3 point guards play a lot of minutes for the Mavericks. Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson starts alongside him, who played point guard at Villanova. And they got Spencer Dinwiddie, who they're putting at the 3 alongside these guys. It really works well. I'm totally surprised by it. It just shows how unselfish these guys are to be ball dominant and still be able to make an impact off the ball.
They were big time behind Golden State in that game, right?
And they came back and won the game. 106-101.
Are we seeing some chink in the armor of Golden State?
I saw a stat this morning that with Klay Thompson back, they've already lost one more game than they had. He's played 3 times as few games as Draymond Green.
They've already lost.
They've already lost one more than they did with Draymond Green on the floor.
You know what, though? They'll all be ready for the playoffs.
When Draymond gets back, for
here's
sure.
my next question. Is James Wiseman ever going to play?
That's an excellent question. We still have no idea. There's not a lot of time.
I mean, he's a little like Zion.
Right? Seriously.
He's
but
never
just not
really played.
Just not as much coverage on it.
Yeah.
And my gold medal goes to Sepp Straka. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
Who won the Honda Classic yesterday. Another first-time winner.
Daniel Berger.
4-stroke lead going into the last day.
Going into 19 holes remaining in the tournament. 19 holes remaining. So this is the last hole, the 18th on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Berger had a 6-stroke lead. There was nobody thinking Daniel Berger is going to give that up.
No.
And I love Daniel Berger.
He's a Memphis legend.
I just feel so bad for him. So, yeah, another first-time winner.
Another first-time winner.
So what is that? That's like 4 in 5 weeks?
I believe that's exactly right.
Wow.
4 in 5 weeks.
These guys are good.
I'm telling you what.
These guys are good. My rust goes to Major League Baseball. They're screwing this thing up. Them, the players, all of them. Millionaires fighting with billionaires. Now, I think there are some good points that the players have. You know, their low-end guys are the highest percentage and the lowest paid of any of the major leagues. So that does need to come up a little bit. But they met for 6+ hours yesterday, and they couldn't get it done. And if they don't get it done today, and they say they're going to meet until they do, I got to see it to believe it. I am thinking we're going to miss some games. I know our friend Tim Doolin will be with us tomorrow. He says differently. I don't know. And I put the blame on these guys just fighting over everything. And an ineffective commissioner, opening day can't be moved. Opening day is opening day. You don't move Christmas, right? It's going to be the 25th. You don't move New Year's Day, right? Opening day, well, they've moved it a little. It used to be in April. Now it's March 31st. But you get my drift. You can't delay games. You can't delay the season. You can't back it up because you're already playing where it's freezing cold in the winter, almost. You're in practically November, for goodness sake. You got to get this thing settled, and you got to get it settled today. Your rust?
I would hope so. I really hope it does get done. My rust goes to Dave. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if you're a big Law & Order fan, but they're revamping Law & Order, the original one, the 30 minutes of the detective work, 30 minutes of the judge in the courtroom.
Yeah.
It started on Thursday. It was terrible. Sam Waterston is still the district attorney. He's an excellent actor.
Yeah.
But the death of Jerry Orbach, and now it's Anthony Anderson and the guy, I don't know if you ever watched Burn Notice on USA, the guy that played Michael Weston. Either way, he's the new detective. Jerry Orbach, this classically trained actor, a theater actor, an excellent actor, without great actors on both sides, Law & Order's pretty, it's just nothing special, just another drama. So I give it a 1 out of 5 stars there for that new Law & Order revamp. That's my rust.
Wow. Okay, that one came out of nowhere. Usually we do these things with sports, you understand?
Yeah, but when I was watching the sports yesterday, that commercial kept coming on, and I just couldn't escape it.
Okay, there you go. And those are our medals. We're sitting in the Family Leisure studio. You want to work for a really great company, and I'm telling you, Family Leisure is a great company. Please go contact them. Go to Whitten Road, 940, 2120 Whitten Road. Go to Memphis at familyleisure.com or call 371-9090. Tell them you are self-motivated. You're goal-oriented. You want to join a great company. And they got all kinds of positions for swimming pools, hot tub, or patio furniture sales. If you want sales, you can make bucks. Chemical sales associate, parts and service department associate, even service technician. Now, you got to have a valid driver's license. And they're looking for cashiers, or if you are really good with tools and things of that nature, they're going to start to install above-ground pools. So they're expanding as a business, and they need you at Family Leisure. Our title sponsor, you know that, is Homer Skelton Hyundai. Right there at Craft Road and Highway 78, that's Lamar. It's the first exit in Mississippi. Turn left, you'll see the standard for the way car business should be done. Their general manager, Chris True, says, and they're getting new cars every day, if you buy a new car from Homer Skelton Hyundai, you'll never pay above sticker price. Other dealerships, well, there's a shortage, and they're taking advantage. That doesn't happen at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We are back in just a minute. To Tampa we will go. Our friend TJ Reeves is standing by, and he comes your way in a minute.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The spring sales event is rocking and rolling at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Want 43 MPG Highway in these crazy times? We Gossett in 2022 Mitsubishi Mirage, $239 a month or $16,715. 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, 27 MPG combined in an SUV, $349 a month or $26,010. Plus, redesigned 2022 Outlander. We Gossett at $398 a month. Not a lease, you own them. And get our stellar 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online anytime at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 72 months Mirage, NH 01803, MSRP 17465 Sport, NU 003361, MSRP 27010, Outlander NZO 53093, MSRP 29615. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
She's a good girl, loves her mom.
Every Monday we chat with our friend, the dapper TJ Reeves. Part of the reason he's dapper is I know he's bought from James Davis Menswear. James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. It's the men's store, has been for many years in the entire Memphis area. They've got all the great fashions, and the spring fashions are arriving every day. Please go see them. Sort of looks like a rainbow in there right now. March is tomorrow. Spring is marching on, for goodness sake. But know this, too. This is the only place that has what they call the stance system. They have many great things. I love the Toomey luggage. I think that's the greatest in the world. You get it there. All the great fashions, you get them there. But you also will get the stance system. Now, the stance system is a custom fitting system that, because of technology and computer algorithms and everything else, requires for a unbelievable pair of just great fitting, great looking pair of slacks takes 2 measurements, 3 for a shirt. And I'm telling you, this works better than the 20 measurements you used to get at your tailor. And reasonably priced. And guess what? The only place you can get the stance system, that is at James Davis Men's Store. That is in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. There's an actual interesting story, and TJ Reeves and I have not talked about this story. It comes from Tampa, and it comes from the Buccaneers, his team of which for years he has been the sideline guy, and that is the retirement of left guard Ali Marpet, who's only 28 years old. He's an interesting story in his own right. He's the Division III. I think he's the highest, second-round guy, highest Division III player ever drafted. Is that right?
That is correct. It's good to be with you. There's much to talk about, and that was a shock on a Sunday, just from the standpoint, as you mentioned, only 28, 7 years in the NFL, has made really good money. Obviously, he's an offensive lineman and has decided that's it. And so that add that to the list right now of what the Buccaneers have in terms of holes to fill, because that guy, unsung hero, I mean, that offensive line did a tremendous job the last 2 years of protecting Tom Brady, not getting him hit, et cetera. Marpet was a big part of that and was a Pro Bowler this year and regarded as one of the better guards in the NFL. And I know he has had 2 previous concussions. I won't speak for him, but he didn't come right out and say it, but I think there's concern over previous head injuries.
Okay.
There's concern over injury. There's concern over the long-term effects of playing at 320 pounds, 330 pounds in the NFL. And he's an interesting dude. He is a very likable dude, very strong in the community. And as you mentioned, a Division III player from Hobart College in New York that the Buccaneers scouted heavily, had him at the Senior Bowl, and drafted him in the second round. And, man, did it turn out to be a successful draft pick for them and part of a Super Bowl win, for sure.
So do you think Marpet's decision is for sure, for good, or do you see like, oh, man, a year later, why did I do that? And then sign for some big bucks for
you
2
and
or
I
3
think
more years?
alike.
Yeah.
You and I think alike. If he takes a year and realizes, I miss it, I feel better, I'm healed up, does he want to try it? I think it's a great question. Now, here we sit a couple of years later, and Andrew Luck has never come back. When everybody thought he was going to take a year, heal up, and feel like playing again, it may just be one of those. And again, Marpet is a very intellectual guy. Marpet was also at the forefront, and the Buccaneers acknowledge this, of all of their social justice things in the community in Tampa Bay, and doing some things not only within the organization but back in New York. He's a conscientious guy. He is most offensive linemen, as you know, Wolo, are bright guys.
Oh yeah,
they're
real
smart guys.
Absolutely.
They have to be.
Yep. I agree.
And Gabe Kuhn in the afternoon there with Wolo. With Stats as well. I mean, these guys are bright guys. They're smart guys.
You remember the Bob Rush, my former analyst on Tiger football games, who was a longtime pro with San Diego, chiefly. He always would say the center has to be the smartest guy in the field.
Just because of the audibles and the line calls.
Well, he calls the line. The center calls the line
right.
and has to recognize exactly what's going on.
Well, and so the point is, for a guy like this, looking at the rest of his life and looking at 30, 40 years, hopefully, or more of his life, am I damaging the quality of my life when I'm 50, 55, 60 with what I'm doing right now? And it's an easier decision to make once you've made $30+ million, which Ali Marpet has, and once you've won a ring and played with Tom Brady. That ain't bad.
No.
To be able to evaluate this and say I want to do other things.
I guess my question would be: 28 years old. You played 5 or 6 years, because if he goes to a Division III school, he played 4. He played 7. Okay.
Yes.
So he played 7 years. Did he get the big contract where he could, where he can make it without?
Correct. He's made roughly $35 million of income off of his rookie contract and the second deal that he got. Yes.
Okay, so that usually you
he's
end
leaving
up retaining.
Put it this way. He's leaving $10 million on the table for this season.
Well, if you think about it, you got 35. You usually get about half of that.
Right.
So we're talking $17.5 million. I think you could live on that wisely. Even if you get 2 or 3% interest, you're doing okay. So good for him. I'm happy for him. I hope it works out. All right. On Saturday, something happened that never occurred before, and I want your take on it, because to me, it tells you how much parity there is in college basketball, and that there's not one great team, and that we are going to have one whale of an NCAA tournament, and seeding's going to be tough because all 6, never happened before, all 6 of the top AP poll teams all lost.
Well, and it was all the same day, and it was all within about an 8-hour period. Buckle up. That's all that we can say as March is about to begin. And while we had Gonzaga and Baylor a year ago as the 2 prohibitive favorites to play for the national title, and that's exactly what we got, and eventually Baylor won the championship in that title game, I don't know that we can say for sure, is there a locked team for the Final Four? You maybe would have thought Gonzaga with their path, but, I mean, watching some of that St. Mary's game,
right?
Having seen a couple of their games out of conference with Duke where they beat them, Alabama beat them, they're not invincible. They're clearly not invincible. They're very talented and very explosive on offense. Is there a Kentucky? Is there a Purdue? Is there a Villanova, Providence? Is there? Is it Auburn? Auburn has struggled so much away from home with another loss again this weekend.
Tennessee got them, but I watched that game. I got to be honest with you, Tennessee got every break in that game for sure, and some missed calls. But
I mean, you look at how much Auburn has struggled away from home in a narrow win over Missouri, a narrow win over Georgia, a loss at Florida, a loss now at Tennessee, and you're about to be away from home for the duration here. Conference tournament here in Tampa Bay for Auburn, and then obviously neutral sites in the NCAA tournament. How are they going to do away from home? How is Kansas going to do away from home? Baylor came from behind and got them on Saturday. I don't know that there is a prohibitive favorite going into this tournament. I think you could make the argument of about 10 teams, right, that could be Final Four or championship teams. We love that.
I say get used to this because I think the transfer portal takes away depth, and I think that we will see. I mean, if you look at the Power 5 conferences, they are all so bunched together. There's no way. I said this earlier. 1976 will be the last time we ever see an undefeated team. Kentucky had a chance with John 6-7 years ago. Memphis had a chance in 2008. They could have been 40-0.
Gonzaga got to the title game last year.
Right.
Gonzaga got to the title game undefeated. Yes.
So I don't think, especially because of the power conferences, that we'll ever see another undefeated team. I think Quinn Buckner can toast like Mercury Morris used to all the time. Because I really do not believe we'll see that broken. If you look at the Big Ten and the SEC, ACC's down, right? Virginia and North Carolina aren't very good.
Mm-hmm. You talk about crazy finishes. Just as an aside, real quick.
Yeah,
Virginia hit that shot in the final second against Florida State in a game that Virginia had to have for their bubble hopes.
Right.
And then my man, the Hall of Famer Gene Deckerhoff, got to call the 40-foot heave, the inbound to midcourt, and the 40-foot heave that goes in Charlottesville. And Florida State's had a bad ACC season, especially a bad February because of injuries. But he had a moment there with a last-second call. And by the way, the Memphis Tigers, fresh off of annihilating Wichita State yesterday, come to Tampa Wednesday night to play the USF Bulls. You've seen the finish of the game Saturday night in Cincinnati on the broken play where our buddy Jim Lighthall, my longtime broadcast partner who's done the Bulls for 25 years, he went out of his mind on that last-second call where USF grabs the loose ball with about a second left, flips it up to one of their big men, and he put it in from about 10 feet with no time left to beat Cincinnati.
With a hook shot off the glass.
How about that? I mean, USF a little pep in their step for the Tigers to show up on Wednesday night. We'll see what happens. So yeah, it's just been a crazy year.
That is probably a pretty good thing for Memphis to capture their attention. That USF just won at Cincinnati. Now Cincinnati was reeling, but all you have to do is take the lesson of Saturday and say, hey, anything can happen. Matchups are important. That's why you cannot absolutely. And I'm certain of this. You cannot predict how any of that NCAA tournament will happen until you see the bracket, because that's when you get the matchups.
I agree, and I don't even know that we're going to have a great idea then of who's truly going to beat. I mean, who had UCLA was in the first four last year. And I know we're going to analyze for years the COVID compressed tournament all being in Greater Indianapolis, and a little bit of it was in West Lafayette. So it made a difference. It made it unusual. It made it different that it was all in a bubble there. But UCLA was in the first four, and they were losing the game in the second half to Michigan State. They were almost home on a charter to Los Angeles. And they went all the way. They won that one, and they went all the way into the Final Four and lost a crazy, dramatic, speaking of crazy shots, dramatic 45-foot bank-in shot beats them in overtime.
Yeah. Right.
So, who can predict this?
And they're not the first four team to go to the Final Four.
That's
VCU
correct.
And Shaka Smart did it. Is there anybody else? Maybe George Mason did.
Syracuse emerged from the first four and made the Final Four also.
So it can happen, and that might be the legacy for Memphis. That could very well be what happens with Memphis. They might end up in the first four.
Well, I think more than likely the Tigers are going to be in the first four if they're there. I mean, everything that I keep looking at, our buddy Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com has them right on the brink, if not in the first four. I know that Lenardi has them as well. I often don't mention that name, the ESPN bracket guy.
Why?
Because he basically plays three-card Monty with all of this and moves all of it around and has for years and has no credibility. But anyway, there's several other bracketologists like Mike DeCourcy and others
who will be on with us tomorrow. But
there you go. And he's got the Tigers in as well in the first four. All of them. My point to your comment is have Memphis playing in the first four in date.
But if Memphis was net now is 42, and they're 3-3 in quad ones. If they were to beat USF, and they'll be double-digit favorites to do so, I'm pretty sure, and then were to beat Houston at home, a team they already beat at Houston, I would have to think that their net would be somewhere in the mid to upper 30s. That would tell me they're an at-large team in the field without having to beat SMU. But I don't know.
And you don't know what's going on around you because you've got the likes of Oregon and North Carolina, and you can just go down the list of Rutgers bubble teams, Mountain West teams like San Diego State, who plays tonight against Wyoming. Those are all teams that you're going to be compared to here in the end on do you have a better resume than them? And really for the SMU thing, the head-to-head is only important if all other factors are equal. And really, Memphis has a better win over Alabama and a better win over Houston on the road. SMU's win was at home, so the committee will value Memphis's win over Houston on the road a little better. That's an interesting debate, and there will obviously.
Looks like
there'll be a third
one
game
win. It's a quad one win everywhere,
right?
And because their net is down to 3, even though they're 0-3 in quad one wins. So in quad one games. So I don't get how they're 3, but I'm not going to argue because it can only help Memphis's resume. All right, last thing for you, because I think it affects the Tampa economy. No spring training games yet, and
it's awful.
Who knows what's going to happen? What do you think will end up with today being D-Day? What's going to happen with Major League Baseball and the players this afternoon?
And you bring up a great part of this, which is what's forgotten in West Central Florida, Southwest Florida, and Southeast Florida, South Florida, is all of these communities that have thousands, tens of thousands of dollars riding on in the late February and early March and into mid-March on thousands of Northeasterners, Canadians, and upper Midwesterners that come down here in and around the spring or that live down here that come and eat in restaurants, stay in hotels, and buy tickets to these games and boost the local economy in all these communities here and in Arizona. And all of that's being cast aside. And I fear that the greed and the whole multi-act play that began to play out in the pandemic year 2 years ago, where Rob Manfred said, hey, we'll show some of our cards right now. We don't have to play very many regular season games. We'll just leave it shut down in the regular season and care more about the postseason. That was kind of a preview. And what I fear, I don't try to just be doom and gloom for no reason, is you're going to see the same thing here with spring training and maybe even April baseball. We don't have to play spring training games, and we don't have to play all the games in the regular season to still collect TV money. So these markets, the Florida smaller towns and markets are losing out. The Arizona smaller towns and markets are losing out. Some of them, they've been Wolo, there's like 4 franchises that train in and around the Tampa Bay area. And for a lot of the local restaurants, hotels, merchants, they're talking about that like a quarter, if not a third of their revenue comes from the month of March and from everybody being here in and around spring training. And they're not here because there are no games.
And there is a big baseball story from your neck of the woods, too. Derek Jeter has just stepped down as the Marlins CEO. He's no longer a shareholder in the organization.
I saw something about that right before we came on, and I wasn't sure if it was The Onion or if it was a spoof.
No.
But what a disaster. What a disaster. His ownership group and him tearing the Marlins completely down to nothing and then not sticking around for the rebuild. What a disaster.
Yep, absolutely.
And you wonder if there's not something else going on. He has been above reproach, such a great figure for baseball, but you wonder if there's not something else there. I have no idea. I saw that right before we came on, and I seriously didn't know if it was legit or what it was on the internet, but my first blush reaction is he is going to be vilified and destroyed for having torn the Marlins down and then leaving before the rebuild. What is up with that?
I don't know. Thank you, my friend. As always, we appreciate it. I'll see you in Tampa.
Looking
later
forward
this
to
week.
it. Come on down this way, and we'll get a little love for the Tigers down in the Tampa Bay area, and then here we go with March. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. We appreciate it. This portion of the show brought to you by Old Dominick. You know, that's Memphis's hometown distillery with great spirits. They are doing a bourbon that I am telling you are going to fall in love with. Alex Castle, who is the master distiller, has been waiting and patient, and this thing is going to be special. You'll love all of the Old Dominick portfolio. I promise you. You can get them everywhere. You can get it at like the Spirit Shop. That is the Eddie Connor Palace. It's a little log cabin, but inside it looks like a palace to me because there's so much stuff in there. They've got Old Dominick spirits. They really do. And you can go down on 305 South Front Street and get a tour. Learn the history. Learn how you distill, the craft of distilling, from grain to glass. You can learn all about that and then get a tasting. And that one's all part of the tour. That's kind of cool. Or their bar. It's a great deal. It really is. It is Memphis's hometown distillery. It is Old Dominick. And this portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Conway services heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the tune-up. And the tune-up in the winter, even though it's late now, I would still get that done. just to have them check for the carbon monoxide leaks. They take this camera, they take it up into your system, then they do a carbon monoxide test. You breathe a lot easier when you know when this thing is done and you don't have any kind of leaks. Really, I do. And your system for $69, it's all thrown in, is tuned up. It saves you money on your MLGW bill, and it will make your system last longer. 384-3511. That's the number to Conway for that super 16-point energy saver super tune-up. Back in a minute, we'll put a wrap on this Monday on Wolo and Friends.
The all-new Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Brought to you by Action 24/7, James Gaddis Jewelers, and Acura of Memphis. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Get in the swing of things. Grab your friends, your clients, your employees, and go enjoy everything you love about Top Golf in a luxury suite while at Memphis' only Top Golf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Top Golf Swing Suite is an immersive social experience offering guests a luxury private lounge to enjoy Erling Jensen's extraordinary food and beverage service, all while playing a selection of games in a one-of-a-kind simulation day. Top Golf Swing Suites are great for work outings, celebrations, or just getting together. It's fun for the whole family. It's fun for golfers and non-golfers alike. They have more than just golf. They have soccer, baseball, zombie dodgeball, football, and more. Located at 5069 Sanderlin, adjacent to the Doubletree East Memphis. Check us out at swingsuitememphis.com or call us at 901-58-SWING. Again, that's 901-58-SWING at Memphis' only Top Golf Swing Suite at Erling Jensen's Small Bites. Book your suite today.
Hey, Jeff Allen, the Kia President's Day sales event is sure to make all your customers happy at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah.
We are ready to make you smile. Check it out. 2022 Kia Forte LXS, we got it covered at $199 per month. And a 2022 Kia Soul LX, $219 a month. Both $27.99 due at signing.
Plus 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $308 a month, $34.99 due at signing, and all 36-month leases. And they all come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
Ask for Jeff Allen, Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com. All 36-month leases, $650 acquisition fee, $30,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, NE 456, 841, MSRP 21090, Soul N78, 23215, MSRP 21515, Sorrento NG 104027, MSRP 31460. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, must finance through KMF, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/22, dealer stock only.
Warmer weather means more fun time outside, but it can also mean more bugs like fleas and ticks. So don't forget to help protect your pets with Frontline Plus for dogs and Frontline Plus for cats. It's easy to apply, kills fleas and ticks fast, and keeps working all month long. So you can enjoy the outdoors and your pets can get the protection they need. That's why Frontline is the #1 name in flea and tick protection. Trusted for over 20 years. Find out where to buy Frontline products at frontline.com today.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof, or even if you need one, looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. Fiveash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Time has flown by this morning. Wow, really has. And the last story we'll talk about, the Nets and Kyrie Irving. They want him to play home games. And the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, has said he wants to see Kyrie on the court. He wants the Nets to make a run, but making an exception for one player would send the wrong message to the rest of the city. Adams made that comment to CNBC. He added he's spoken with the Nets owner, Jeff Tsai, about the issue. And his comments came a day after he announced in a statement that as long as COVID-19 numbers continue to decrease, the city is looking at March 7th as the date. So Kyrie can't play for at least another week. That is the story on all of that. So it's not going to be long. He'll be as long as these numbers, and let's pray that that is the case. All these COVID numbers go down. Like in Memphis, the mask mandates are off. It's volunteer for masks in schools now. Let's hope these numbers keep going down, and so everybody will be at full strength for the NBA playoffs, which should be a lot of fun. We got to thank TJ, our friend in Tampa, for joining us tomorrow. As usual, we will have Mike DeCourcy. We'll talk a lot about the net and things of that nature in this tournament. Also, we will chat with Tim Doolin, our baseball guy, on what the heck is happening today. That'll do it for us. Johnny Radio is coming your way. He's right around the corner. Have a beautiful Monday, and say goodbye to February.